3 of my tutorial on how to solve a 3x3x5 blindfolded, the memorization. This is not actually as hard as you might think. I got it on only my second try. I'll show you my method of memorizing it, but you can really adapt this to any memory method that you would use on a 3x3x3. There's just a few tricks that you'll need to know. The first thing we'll memorize are the inner corners, and I do these by color pairs. I start by looking at the buffer position, seeing which piece is there. I'll mentally trace it to its final position, which in this case will be yellow, red, blue. But I only need 2 stickers of the corner to determine its final location. So I'll just look here and see that this would be yellow and this sticker is red. So I remember yellow, red, and I have an image that goes with that pair of colors. I'll look in that position, yellow, red. I see orange, trace it to see that the other sticker will be white, so I'll memorize orange, white. And I just do this for each corner in the sequence. So executing that, I remember yellow, red, and I find that this yellow, red can be brought to F and D of the FDR corner. Do the algorithm to switch them, bring it back, then I have orange, white, and that corner is solved also. I then use the Roman rooms method to memorize this list of objects. I'll place 2 images at each location on my Roman room, and that way I can easily tell if I have an even or odd number of pieces to solve, which will help me determine parity for this step. A better method would be the letter pair method. You assign a letter from A through X to each possible corner position, and then for each pair of letters you have an image. And you can memorize these images using a journey method or using a story. Just make sure that you memorize it very well because you'll need to remember it for a while. Next I'll memorize inner edges. I look at my buffer position, see that I have an orange edge, and since it's paired with this orange-yellow piece, I'll put it at orange-yellow, so that both pieces will end up being solved. When I look here, I see that I have something orange. Since I've already used yellow, I know that this has to be white-orange. I'll look there, see green something, and since I haven't already solved green-white, I'll put it at green-white. Again, using letter pairs would be much better than using color pairs. However, it does require more work to set up on front since you have so many more images to create. The second thing is, as you're memorizing, when you encounter an edge that goes to the white layer, mentally mark a red X over it. You'll only need to remember this for a little while, so don't worry about making it too secure. Next, I memorize inner corners. But since we're going to be solving these after we've solved the inner 3x3, we can't rely on which piece is in the buffer location right now. Instead, we'll need to find the inner corner that goes to that buffer location, which is this one, and see what outer corner is paired with it right now, which is this white, green, orange. Then I just memorize that by tapping the spot of the white, green, orange, because you don't need to memorize orientation for these outer layer pieces. Next I'll find which inner edge goes to white, green, orange, which is right here, see which outer edge pairs with it, and then I'll tap that location next. I'll find the piece that goes there, find the next outer corner, and tap that location. If you're not comfortable with tapping to memorize, you can instead assign a letter to each corner position. There are only 8 of them, so you really can use whatever letters make it easiest for you to memorize. And then you can either memorize the string of letters directly, or assign images to pairs of letters or to single letters, try to pronounce them, or do something like that. Finally, I'll memorize the outer edges, and this is the hardest step, but it's not too difficult with a little bit of practice. I'll look for the piece that will end up in my buffer, which will be an inner blue edge. So I'll look for a blue edge. Here's one. But I remember that when I was memorizing the inner edges, I made a red X over this piece because it ends up at blue-white, not at blue-yellow. So instead I'll look for another blue edge, which will be right here, and I'll see that my first piece will be red-white. So I'll memorize the letter that corresponds to the red-white position, which for me happens to be G. Next I'll look for the red edge where I made a red X, because that's the one that will end up in the bottom layer. And I will see this one. Here's the outer piece that goes with it. That will be B for me, and so on. And I just memorize this string of letters as a string of letters. I don't use images for single letters or for pairs. You could if you wanted to, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference. You've just finished learning how to solve the 3x3x5 blindfolded. I recommend trying this method a few times while looking at the cube, and then if you're not entirely comfortable memorizing, you can write down what you would normally memorize and solve while looking at this written sheet of paper without looking at the cube. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I also have a text version which I've left a link to in the description. If you have any questions, you can post in that thread, or you can leave a comment on the video, but I can't guarantee that I'll see it.